Welcome to Bring It to the Runway for Season 15, by the way, for RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 15, Episode 13, titled, well, it's a pretty conventional title they have every single time, Drag Family Resemblance. This week we're doing teachers, where the girls have to turn teachers into their drag family, sisters, daughters, whatever. Speaking of sisters, or daughters, from the noisiest place on earth, give it up to Thirst Trap himself, Mr. Roberto Mata. I don't want to say who, but somebody that we all know messaged me during the premiere and was like, Robert can get it. And I was like, it's been gotten. So, hello, Roberto Mata. How are you?
Hi, Joe. I'm tuning in today from my bed. This is where the magic happens. The final destination for many.
Many? No, he's talking about a guy named Manny. He's talking about a guy named Manny that he.
That's what I'm
talking
talking about. Yeah, for sure.
Robert, you were in a bad mood earlier.
I was not. I just am really frustrated by the fact that there's construction going across the street, there's construction going to my right, there's construction quite literally right outside my apartment door. It's just like a constant buzzsaw noise and bangs and clicks, and of course it happens when I'm trying to record this fucking show with you.
Well, I have some advice for you.
Don't. I don't want to hear it. Please. Shut up!
That's overmodulated, so we'll have to redo that one. Yeah. Why didn't you let loose?
I can't hear one more iteration of that meme. It was chuckable like the first 2 or 3 times. The 700th time was just like, come on, people. But that's what Drag Race fandom does. You know, they run shit into the ground.
Yeah. Christian? Oh, wait, sorry. And from some unknown place, maybe some people might think it's heaven, some people might think it's hell. Give it up for the one, the only. She's very dolled up today. Christian Ochoa. Hello, Christian.
Very dolled up? What do you mean by that? My eczema patches are full front and center today. They are. Look at my eyelids. Mm-hmm. This is what I get for drinking wine on Sunday.
By the way, Christian. Robert needs to know this. Hold on, I forgot. I need to turn on my lighting. So, Christian, I'm at Disneyland, Robert, okay? I'm in line for Rise of the Resistance, all right? And Christian messages me. And I'm in line, as you see, it says, how would you describe my approach to comedy? And I go...
Approach?
Oh, yeah, well, comedy? I
would be better... asked how would I describe your approach to golfing? Like, I don't understand.
Yes, that's a very good way of putting it. I didn't understand what he was saying.
What's my comedic approach?
Well, you're not a comedian.
Your signature style.
Or like, what's my relationship to comedy? Like, what's my sense of humor? How would you describe my sense of humor?
Your comedic vessel.
Cunty.
Christian wants to be called an insult queen, like Bianca Del Rio.
Oh, is that what it is, Christian? So why did this question come up, Christian?
I don't know. I was listening to something, and they were talking about different styles of comedy. I was listening to some comics, and I was just like, I wonder what my approaches to comedy are like. The way I consume comedy.
Well, the way you consume comedy? The way you...
like the way that I react to comedy.
From what I've seen, you have a very gay sensibility about comedy. So is there a gay one? Like, you like Natasha Leggero.
He called you camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Pop
a campy
culture
girl.
references.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, there you go, Queen. That's what.
Okay, no answer.
I don't know why you need to know this. I was with Jay Ellis, Afterthought Media personality Jay Ellis and his boyfriend. And I go, I wouldn't even know how to describe anybody's approach to comedy. What's Kathy Griffin's approach to comedy?
None, for the last decade or so.
Well, I mean, we know what it was, Mama, that gave her the boot.
Okay, what was it, Christian?
Wasn't it that she was holding the Donald Trump head?
Yeah, but that's a specific joke. But what's the approach?
Oh, I don't know.
Exactly.
That's why I was asking you, a comedian, a comedy writer, someone that I would think would know styles of comedy. But apparently, this is a question for Lori, my new best friend. And I'm going to just text her instead.
I'm fine with
Christian,
that.
how would you describe Joe's approach to fashion?
Oh, good point.
I know uniform, sheltered, timid.
Well, I think in Gen Z terms, I would put like slobcore.
I don't think you're
I'm nodding
slobcore.
Because they would say that, not because I am identifying you with that moniker.
I think it's Chaz Bonocore.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think it's there we go. But you know what? We're not here to talk about my fashion. We're here to talk about the fashion from this week's Bring It to the Runway. It was a pair of queens, which means Christian's going to take twice as long to describe it. And so here we go. And you know, because there's so few now, we're just going to go with whatever order they came out in. All right? So the first one we have, when it shows up, I don't know why it's not. Are you guys seeing it?
No.
Not yet.
But I do remember that it was
ragged I look, though.
the Colbys came out first.
It is the Colbys. Oh, there it is.
Mother Sasha Colby, and what's her daughter's name? Or sister's name?
Right here.
Ferocity Colby. There we go.
Yeah.
And they're in...
Okay, go ahead. You're right.
Ferocity.
Luke on the notes put Fiercelicious, so I gotta change that. All right, go ahead.
I love Fiercelicious.
They have on the high pony, the mug, the like, are those orchids in their hair? Some type of floral motif in their hair. Mm-hmm. They both have on a chandelier earring. And they're both in... So, Ferocity is in a cocktail version of this tropical printed magenta and flesh tone cocktail dress with a ruffle detail on the sleeve and on the hem, with these like Versace knockoff hot pink satin platform heels with an ankle strap. And then Sasha is wearing the gown version of it with a nude illusion going down the middle of the dress, accentuating their proportions because they both padded. So I love that Sasha took the concept of feminizing her daughter and also applied that to herself with the padding. I thought that was brilliant because, you know, a lot of people do criticize, you know, at one point they would say trans queens, like, why, you know, they already have body, like, they don't really have to work at it, which is bullshit. And I love that she did this because she looks incredible. The family resemblance is insane. And let's be honest, she had the prettiest outcome out of all of them. This is the one that you'd be like, that bitch is a pro. Mm-hmm. So I think she looks drop dead gorgeous. And you know what's funny? I hate this print. I don't love the material, but I love the way that they worked it. I totally get the storyline. It's great.
Robert Mata?
It's pretty much flawless, right? I mean, I think Sasha's padding is maybe an inch too big, maybe 2 inches too big, just slightly off proportion-wise. But she also said during the episode that she normally doesn't pad, so I think small mistakes like that are inevitable. But otherwise, it's just really, really good. And the phony ponies are, at this point, a Sasha Colby signature, so happy to see them on both of them. And yeah, I don't really have anything to nitpick here.
So there are a lot of people who feel that Sasha Colby was sort of robbed. Do you guys agree with that? Christian, do you agree with that?
I do. I personally think she did the best. You know, when the girls were coming out, when the teachers were coming out, I should say, on their own without their partners, at first I was like, oh shit, I kept thinking that was Sasha for a little bit. Same with Lucy's teacher. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it really took me out. But I feel like it's very difficult to teach stage presence in a short amount of time. And I thought Ferocity had very bold stage presence that mimicked Mother Sasha. So to me, I do think she, where she has won in the past where I was like, okay, I mean, I could see it, but I'm not like, oh, Sasha should have won that. This is like something that I do feel more passionate about her winning.
Mata?
Yeah, I mean, she looks the best out of everyone. Her partner looks the best out of everyone, too. It just doesn't... But, Sasha did get other wins that maybe she didn't deserve, so I guess this is the universe correcting itself, right?
Yeah.
And then, side note, during her walkthrough, Sasha, made a life-size Disney Channel original movie reference when she said, shine bright, shine far, be a superstar. I thought that was so random. What? But I haven't heard anyone reference that on a potty or on Reddit, but I just wanted to call it. What's up?
Stop. Christian, Robert just said, Sasha made a random reference to an obscure Disney live-action movie. And I was like, Robert is the queen of making a reference to an obscure Disney live-action movie.
When have I ever done that?
You just did it right now.
I did it because Tyra Banks starred in that really obscure decom from 97 or something.
That movie was
like
amazing.
But why would Sasha Colby know about it? It's so random.
Why wouldn't she know about it? That movie was huge.
Was it really?
Yes, it was big enough for them to make a part 2 a few years ago.
That's every movie though. In that movie, no one heard anything about it. Quietest release ever.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Next,
girl, you were 6 when that movie came out. How would you know that if it had a big impact or not?
Then you were 5. 6. How would you know?
Yeah, because all of my friends and I owned it, and we would talk about it all the time.
Okay, here we go. Lucy LaDuca.
Okay.
Tell us about this, Christian.
Lucy LaDuca and her teacher. What's her teacher's name?
Her
Lala.
teacher's name is
Lala
LaDuca.
Yeah, so, they're wearing, it's kind of like a kimono sleeve, duster coat in this print that I can't really quite describe. It's kind of Art Deco-ish, multicolor, with this minty satin trim on the cuffs and lapels. And then Lucy is wearing a solid version of that duster in the colorway of her teacher's satin circle dress, with the V-neck line with this ruching detail on the chest. It's red and it has a yellow hemline, and then Lucy has on the multicolor print, almost like a sailor dress because it has this red bow motif on the neckline and the same yellow thin stripe on the hemline. Holy shit, she looks like she took her face and put it on another person. It's kind of crazy. What do you guys think?
Definitely.
What do you think?
I mean, it looks like, the Barb and Star joke that RuPaul made the second they walked out on stage was exactly on point. And then, on top of that, I mean, it looks like 2 women who just left church who are getting ready to yell at a waiter. They are prepped and like sisters.
Now, there's another controversy where people think Lucy shouldn't have been in the bottom at all. Do you guys agree with that? Let's start with you, Robert.
I think it could. There was definitely 3 people who could have been in the bottom, and much like maybe Selena didn't deserve to be in the bottom the week prior, but she was, and we all agreed that it was her time to go home. I'd say the same for Lucy in terms of cumulative body of work, how much I've enjoyed watching them on TV. Should they be in the finale? Blah blah blah.
All right.
So not really to answer your question, but to answer your question.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think she did a great job, but it doesn't mean that this isn't ugly. Who the fuck? I do not understand her point of view on clothes or style still. And she's made it this far. She, has made some references. And then when it's something more original, this is kind of what we get. And who the fuck has ever... you can't tell me her girl feels good looking like this. I think she really maximized making her teacher look like a teacher and not in a good way, in a cliche way. So, at the end of the day, this is still not cute. Like, who would ever look at these pieces of clothing on a rack and be like, I want to wear that, or wow, that's going to make me feel so empowered and larger than life? I don't think so. I think it's ugly. And so I think she did an amazing job at nailing the whole family resemblance and coordinating the looks, but it doesn't mean that the looks are cute.
I love the pattern, actually. The green and the blues with the random dove. It looks like some country flags for countries I've never heard of before. I like it, actually. And I know I haven't been very vocal about liking Lucy all season, but when it looks good, it looks good. I just don't understand why her sister's not in body the same way that Lucy has always made her signature her body. And instead, she's just in a nightgown.
All right, very good. Let's move on to, well, Lucy, what time is it? Oh, no, let's take a break, actually. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the rest of the looks. All right, we are back, and now we are looking at Mistress Isabel Brooks and her partner, Madame Thang. What were your thoughts here, Christian?
So Mistress is in a big signature platinum wig with her breastises out in a mint velvet floor-length stretch gown and a matching mint feather boa. And then her partner is in a black big signature Mistress wig with a matching black boa, feather boa, and a black velvet stretch gown. I personally thought her partner looked so ugly. Her makeup is atrocious. This is what Ursula the Sea Witch should look like as Melissa McCarthy. You guys, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand why people, just because they look the same, Mistress looks hot and her girl does not. Her girl, she aged her partner. Like, you never do that. You never do. A woman never wants to look older. And it's like, Mistress looks incredible. Mug, beautiful. Hair, beautiful. Body, outfit. Bitch, your partner looks swallowed in like this darkness and she just does not look good. I agree with some other comments about them swapping boas. I think Taylor said that on the recap. I completely agree with him. If they would have swapped boas, it would have made them look more cohesive. And her partner, the teacher, wouldn't have looked like she's drowning in just like darkness in a black hole. Other than that, she looks like a Pekingese. Like, look at her facial expression. It looks like a constipated Pekingese with this big fucking hair. Like, she doesn't look good. She does not. This in comparison to Ferocity, or this in comparison to Anitra's girl, like, no, girl. I'm sorry, but she is, her and Lux, low-key should have been in the bottom.
Robert?
And I love Mistress. So. You're on mute, Robert.
Yeah, we don't hear the shh. Which, by the way, people at the home won't hear that, so I don't know why I said that, yeah.
Well, damn, sorry. I thought it was... Regardless. I love Mistress, but it was not a good night for her. I thought even she didn't look anywhere near as good as she usually looks tonight. Something about both of their makeup looks muddied and a little, like, crunchy, and her wig seems deflated. The makeup, or the necklace even felt cheap. The dress didn't feel, like, well fitted. It just wasn't doing anything for me, really. I feel like a lot of makeover challenges obviously are just kind of whatever's left in your bag and you throw it on, and this like really left that impression on me. And then I just didn't understand the follow-up when it was Lux's critique and they came for her for not having a cohesive color story, and there's literally nothing cohesive about the color story being told.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a cohesive color story for the collection to be cohesive. A lot of times in fashion, It's not about the color. I mean, it's the same silhouette, it's the same textiles, and it's the same styling. So I think this is a very cohesive look. Now, could you have tied in color to make it more cohesive? Absolutely. But I mean, I think the cohesion, the clash really is the yin and yang of ugly and pretty. Like, if you look at the teacher, she looks miserable. She looks pissed. She has a constipated look on her face. And then
That's
Mistress's look is even more pleasant. No, it's the lips. The lips are turned down.
Lips too,
the
sure.
contouring is turned horribly. And I think she painted, maybe I might say, too big for such a small face. And then Mistress's paint isn't even that big, because even her partner's highlighting on her forehead looks more drastic than on Mistress. And mind you, Mistress is a man. So, yeah, girl, no. But I think Mistress looks exceptional. That's where I differ in opinion from you. I think she looks so pretty. But her girl just looks not good. No woman would feel proud walking around with that makeup. They just wouldn't.
That's
All
your
right.
go-to tagline today.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have Lux and her partner, Asia Azul. Even looking at this shot right now, it looks like two different pictures stitched together.
It does. It's giving lip sync for your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. So Asia Azul is sporting it looks like satin, but I'm definitely sure it's a stretch lycra material of this beautiful blue. It is a strapless gown with a cape that is lined in the coral fabric that is matching Lux's. Lux is wearing a halter top that ties into like a skirt sarong. Looking very resort, and then this cheap metal belt that is so over. It is so dated. It's so 2010. Yeah, I was very disappointed. And I think this is what we get when Lux isn't replicating something. So I think what we learned, mind you, I love Lux, love her. I think she's very talented. She's one of my faves of the season. But I do think that she's not a fully realized adult, and it shows. You know, she's still very much adolescent in her adulthood, and I don't think you can really bring a perspective to this level of competition that can make you a winner at that age without having experiences kind of like Aquaria did or Violet. So, yeah. That's how I feel about this. I was disappointed.
Robert Mata?
I still love Luxalicious, but this was definitely the worst of the night. I think we all can agree on that, though. I don't think anyone's really refuted that point, right?
Yeah. I mean, I do think... Do you guys like the teacher's makeup?
Yes. I guess it's difficult to know exactly how... a middle-aged woman is going to look in drag makeup, and whether or not that's going to like emphasize features of the face that aren't as tight as they used to be. How is someone like Lux, who is, you know, obviously following YouTube tutorials, supposed to translate that to a much older individual? I thought she looked great. I don't think she really looked like Jennifer Coolidge, though. Apart from
I don't think so either. I don't know why they kept
that.
I agree.
And then they
agree with
pretended
you.
like it's like a sin that she didn't know who that was. Like everyone is watching Legally Blonde 2 over and over and over again, because like realistically that was one of her only major roles before White Lotus. And
what about
Stifler's mom, of course.
Yes. Shout out to my buddy.
But does Miss Reyes seem like a woman who's chilling watching American Pie?
I feel like she knows who Jennifer Coolidge is, but she doesn't know the name to the face, you know?
For sure. She just probably said the I want a hot dog real bad. She would have known.
Yeah.
Regardless, I also thought that like Lux did a horrible job designing this dress. They should have dropped it. The proportions weren't right. The padding was off. But I love that Miss Reyes seemed like she was having a good time.
What about Best in Show, Robert? You're not going to give her the Best in Show?
Oh, she was like the least memorable cast member from Best in Show. I remember Jane Lynch more and I always forget the gay boys' names, but you know. I don't. I like.
right.
Besides, like, when's the last time a Christopher Guest film was relevant?
Wow, Robert's delivering harsh critiques today. You know, Robert, I used to do a podcast that people really liked, but my co-host kind of just bailed. We should revive the podcast.
Is it more or less that viral podcast clip that went popular last week, where it's just two middle-aged women just talking shit?
No, well, it's called Girls on Film, and it was me and my friend talking about. We'll talk about it later. But you, Robert, and I should do Girls on Film. Revive it. All right, sounds good. Next, Anitra and her partner Electra. Christian, go ahead.
So Anitra and Electra are wearing matching yin and yang motif, magenta and black velvet, single leg catsuits with a mock neck line and these kind of like a velvet scarf that is wrapped around their waist, draped on a leg, and then it like is cuffing at one of their hands. I actually really liked this. I think this was a very strong contender for the win with Sasha. I did like Sasha's a little bit more, but I thought this was actually really fabulous. They definitely look like sisters. I'm very much over just seeing catsuits, but I thought for this, it was very effective. I think they look immaculate, polished, the hair color, even the styling of the wig. It is, although it is avant-garde for like an everyday hairstyle for a woman or even a night out, I think this is still something that I can see a girl do. So I liked it a lot. It was great.
Robert?
I'm realizing now that looking at these photos that no one's shoes even came close to matching whatsoever. So it makes the hilarious Ross Matthews critique that Lucy should have stoned her partner's shoe even more what the fuck, because that critique could have been applied pretty liberally to all the girls. I'm looking at Anitra's, chunky ass heel and her sister's much smaller one.
So
but
this
I
is
like
technically a platform heel, not a chunky heel.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. A platform heel. Yeah, I like the yin and yang of it. I like the Asian pride. It's not often we get to see an Asian makeover this late in the season because of the
that's
Asian curse.
true. You're right.
So it's pretty flawless actually, which is good for Anitra. Anitra's normally half a skirt and a bodysuit, and it's not that this isn't that, but like Christian said, she executed it really well this time.
She looks so polished, and I saw Anitra performing last week in Oakland, stumbled upon her show. It was wild, you guys. There was, what do you mean? Oh, that's right, bitch. You had a whole discourse. Bitch, talk about dissertations. Miss Jo Betance, anytime my name comes out of her mouth, she gives a fucking dissertation.
That's my approach to comedy. But what I was going to ask you was... Yeah, no, that's why I said, oh, that's right. It's like, what do you have a response to that?
Yeah, so I have been texting back and forth with Anitra after we passed a blunt, and she is down to come on the pod. I told her that she's probably going to have to come on All Perras Go to Heaven because there's just a hater at the other network that doesn't want the downloads. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't want the downloads while we have a current contender for the crown.
She can come and bring it to the runway. Why don't you come and bring it to the runway?
That's what I wanted her on.
Why don't we? When she's in LA, why don't we book her in the Spotify studio?
Oh, that would be hot. That would be fierce.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, you guys. I'm not fucking texting her.
Without construction.
I'm not texting her, you guys. Kristen handed her a fucking joint and was like, here you go, girl, let's smoke. And then she was like, fuck, I don't know. I have to go to Roscoe's. I'm like, my flight is out tonight. And then she's like, but I'll take this. Thank you so much. She was so nice. And you guys, in heels, she was my height. I thought she was taller, but she's not as tall as I thought.
Was taller, yeah.
Yeah, because I heard you guys talking about it on the Drag Race recap.
Well, somebody said that they saw. Jimmy was telling me that he saw Lucy out, and that Lucy's a lot smaller than that show on the show. I think they're all
She looks
short.
like 5'6".
She might be shorter because 5'6" is not 5'6". I'm 5'6", and I know I'm short, but it's not to the point where you're, oh my god, she's tiny.
I thought you were tiny when I met you. I did.
Jimmy was talking about like she was like a midget. I don't think you thought it was a
Christian and I are
midget.
6 feet tall, so like we see things from a different weather zone.
But what I'm saying is, relatively speaking, I think they're all a pretty short cast.
Yeah. And they all do know how to make themselves really like look big. Because even the twins, you know the twins are tiny, but they knew how to make themselves look long for sure. And I agree with you. Like, I think like Anitra's styling is very much leg to make her look longer. Usually it's like plunging necklines. And yeah, Lucy definitely looks like she'd be like bigger. But you're right. I think they're all pretty tiny. Sasha's very small in person.
Yeah. And they all look around the same height. Okay, boys, your prediction. They're saying someone's going home this week. Robert, you don't read the spoil subreddits, do you?
I do, but they don't know yet what's
Oh, no.
happening. So,
Oh, they don't. The spoil subreddits.
and
don't
I
know what's gonna
always
happen?
like keep that part of my brain locked away for when we have these types of discussions.
Oh, because I wouldn't be surprised if they did a multiple. Who's going home to? I think they did that a couple seasons ago, right? Where they had a top four, narrowed it down to 3, but they filled multiple endings about which 3 queens were
Yeah.
going forward. Oh, interesting. Very smart. So who are you guessing is going home, Robert?
I don't think anyone's going home. I think they're full of shit about saying that it's going to be a top 3. I think they're manufacturing their own twist, even though they do
Christian?
it every season.
I agree with Robert, but if someone were to go home, I do think Lux is going to go home.
I think Mistress would be the one.
Oh, really? I don't know. You know what? People were talking about how Lux's lip sync was pretty lackluster. Wait.
I don't
Lux
think it
luster.
was. I don't think it lacked luster more than I thought it was a little bit frantic.
Well, look, I'll be honest with you. She might have hyped up her own lip syncing because she wasn't that good in the Lollapalooza either. Like of the 3, remember when she lip synced against Anitra and blah blah blah. I thought, and Jax was it? I thought she was the worst one. So I don't know. Whatever. All right. Well, we are going to call it a day there. Well, no, I'm sorry. If you're on Patreon, stick around. We're going to do a short little extra Patreon thing. But for the public feed, that's going to do it. Robert, why don't you go ahead and give your plugs?
You can find me at RAWB54 on social media. That's about it.
Still no thirst messages for you?
No, I mean, I get messages that could be interpreted that way, but truthfully, I get all those on Grindr, where they should be.
Christian?
Hit me up at Hella_Christian on Instagram, at Hella Christian on TikTok. Let's kiki. Let's have a good time. Say hello.
Okay. All right. Once again, if you are a Patreon supporter, stick around. We're going to keep talking afterwards. Otherwise, in the free feed, we will see you guys next week.